Welcome back, guys. This is going to be a quick review, just some initial impressions, because I was able to get my hands on a 2022 GMC Sierra AT4X for a little while. I've driven it on the freeway, I've driven it, to run some errands, and I've kind of gotten a feel for it. And given that this is the Chevy Silverado ZR2's, closely related brother, and that's getting a lot of buzz, I thought, let's share what the Sierra AT4X is like and take it for a little ride. So here we go. So as you can see, this is the new 2022 GMC Sierra AT4X, and it looks so good, especially in this red tint coat that GMC does on their vehicles, and it's amazing. I think it's an extra $600, and it's beautiful. So this is the most off-roady version of the Sierra that you can get, and I think that GMC has done a pretty nice job. So let's take a walk around. Coming in under the hood, you have GMC's 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, and which should be more than enough. This thing is rated to tow, I believe, 9,000 pounds and has about a 1,400 pound payload capacity, and should be more than enough power for what you need to tow, and at least tow some things and to get you where you want to go off-road. So coming in the front end here, you have these nice C-shape daytime running lights, LED lights. You've got these air vents here, black. This grille looks amazing, especially in contrast to that cayenne red tint coat paint. You've got your recovery hooks, your fog lights. You also have some skid plates underneath. Now, you also, with the AT4X, get the Multimatic DSSV shocks here, and they're pretty great. They do a nice job. I've driven the TRX and the Raptor, and I'll give you some initial driving impressions in just a second, but I don't think it rides quite as well as those. This does have leaf springs here in the back, as you can see there. And there's the Multimatic shocks there. But overall, it does feel pretty good. You have these awesome Goodyear Duratrack tires. I had these on my 2000 Toyota Land Cruiser for years and years. They were amazing. You've got your black wheels. You've got your rock rails here. Again, your 275/65/18 Goodyear Duratrack tires. And those things are amazing. I loved them on my Land Cruiser. And they'll last forever and give you tons of grip in pretty much wherever you want to go. Even in the snow, they do a great job. Coming onto the side, you've got your 6.2 liter V8 sign here. You've got your black mirrors, which I love. It's one of my favorite things, actually. I think that GM and Chevy have done a nice job at just styling those mirrors. They've got a great angle, great shape to them. Coming around to the back, the nice Sierra in the tail light. I'm coming up to the tailgate. Hit this, it comes down, woohoo! Hit the top button, that comes down, and last but not least, hit this, bam. It's a nice step. I think it's rated at 375 pounds. You get this awesome kicker stereo back here. So pull over, get out the smoker, and just have yourselves a great time. So that'll about do it for the exterior of the GMC Sierra AT4X. I feel like I can't say Sierra very well. I just want to keep saying Silverado. But you can probably also tell, speaking of the Silverado, this front grille comes down lower than what the ZR2 does. So you probably don't have as good of as an approach angle as you do in the ZR2. And the ground clearance is cut a little bit, but I gotta say, I really like it. I think that they've done a nice job. I mean, it could stand for maybe slightly larger tires, which I think would look really cool, but that's just personal preference. But overall, not bad at all. Great job, GMC. Let's check out the back seat first. Again, these aren't traditional footsteps, but you do have these rock rails you can kind of get your foot on. They're a little difficult. This is quite a leap to get in, but you can do it. Let's start off with the door. You have nice, really cool stitching pretty bold actually. You've got white stitching beneath it. You got lots of leather and nice surfaces. The Bose speakers look great. You have this white piping, white stitching. You've got the storage in the backs of the back seat. Pull down armrest with cup holders, and just a normal moonroof, nothing panoramic back here. But you also have these rubber and carpeted. You can pull this out if you want. Oh, forgot. Heated seats, USB-C, standard USB ventilation back here. As far as room goes in the back seat, I don't think it's quite as roomy as some of the competitors, but it's still really good. It just doesn't feel maybe as deep or as wide as I've been in both the Raptor and the TRX, and those both feel a little bit more roomy, but this is, I've got tons of legroom. Coming into the front, you also have a very nice door. I love all the design on here. I think the leather's nice, it's cushioned well, this feels good. Got your cool AT4X sign here, automatic up and down for the front windows. Nice cubbies here, dual bottle holders. Your AT4X here. Cool, I like these, just rubber and carpet. You can pull those out if you want. Again, more of that red stitching, white piping, AT4X on the seats. Electronically adjustable. These are highly adjustable. These will adjust, down here for around your sides, your lumbar, and also up here around your shoulders. And overall, pretty good. One thing that was kind of surprising, and I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but these are a good bit narrower and shallower than some of the competitors' seats. I'll show you in just a minute, but these are not as throne-like as what you'll find in the F-150 Raptor and the Ram TRX. So climbing in, I'm comfortable. These are comfortable seats, but I'm surprised they're not bigger. You can see there, like, I remember with the, sorry for my hairy legs, but I remember with the Raptor especially, this bottom cushion would go almost into the, pit of my knee, whereas there's several inches here where my legs are, and I'm not a tall guy, and so it's not quite as accommodating for maybe larger or body types or tall people, but keep that in mind. It's also not as wide either. I had my dad in here who's kind of a larger guy, and he was saying that even with his older F-150 that he drives, that there's quite a bit more room even in that for him as kind of a larger guy. So keep that in mind if I'm 5'9" and 180-ish pounds, and I kind of wish that these seats were a little bit bigger and that there was a little bit more room for different body types in here. Okay, so starting it up, got my foot on the brake. This is a cool button, engine start stop. I like it a lot. And boom, it just comes to life. You can probably tell right off the bat that this is a huge improvement over the last Sierra's interior. Just looks fantastic. You've got your Google interface here. Yep, it connected to Apple CarPlay. So here it is, widescreen. I can't remember the size exactly. I want to say it's 12 or 13 or somewhere around there, but it looks really good. You've got your standard, you can go home, you can go through your settings, you can go change this setting over here, you can go to your Apple CarPlay, obviously, your different camera modes, which are amazing, and they look very good, crystal clear. Here's your different views, your trajectory lines, shows you either side of your truck. That one's a little surprisingly pretty fuzzy, but you're probably not using it very often. And then directly below, which is pretty cool. I like it a lot. These cameras are great. GMC's done a nice job. I've always liked GM's interface anyway. So you have these vents up on top that kind of like curve up there. You also have this cool secondary glove box, which it's pretty deep. You can put a lot of stuff in there. Then you got your digital gauges. There's tons of menus in here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through them, but you can go through And I mean, you can up and down scroll through all of them. Yeah, it's pretty darn informative, guys. You do have tiny little, these are like 1-inch paddle shifters, if you want to call them paddles. They're just kind of like little nubs you can shift on your own if you want. You also have your drive mode select here, so I can change that from normal, off-road, terrain, normal. You got your tow haul, your headlight settings, fog light settings, 4-wheel drive, your parking brake is clear over here. Your heads-up display, settings, brightness, over here, lane departure, parking, auto start stop. Your tailgate does not raise on its own, but you can lower it on its own. You've got your, this is the good stuff. This is why you're paying good money for this AT4X. You can lock the rear differential, front and rear lock, and you can do that manually just using that. One thing that was kind of surprising is this is a huge space here that's being used up by this gear selector and by the trailer controller. And I don't really love the dials on other cars for the gear selection, but I almost wish that this could be moved, because when I've got a drink, it's clear over here. That's quite a reach from where I'm at to get my drink, and I feel like this could have been relocated. This could have been relocated, and opened up a whole more, a lot more space here. You also have this wireless phone charger, which actually works pretty well. It's one of the best ones I've used. I actually like the placement too, because it keeps the phone out of your view. And then if you lift this up, initially you're met with this upper tray, which you can put, a lot of stuff in. It's pretty deep. But then if you take that out, boom, this thing's huge. And I like that a lot. I think GM's done a nice job thinking that through. I like the wireless charger. And one other thing that they've done a great job with are these grab handles. There's some leather there with nice stitching, but you also have this micro suede headliner, which looks really premium. I don't know if the camera's really catching it, but it's definitely an upgrade over what you'd get just with a standard headliner. And I think that just gives that GMC and a little extra, luxury to it over maybe the its brother Silverado ZR2. All right, so let's go for a drive. I haven't had as much time with this as I have had with other trucks, but I've driven it a fair amount. I've driven it back and forth to work a couple times. I've taken it into Salt Lake and around town, running some errands. I've put my whole family in it, gone to Costco, just done the daily driving thing. And I haven't regrettably had time. I really wanted to get out today and do some off-roading in it, but I just ended up not having any time, and kind of a bummer. I know that this is kind of made for that, but at the same time, most people who buy these things, you're not off-roading like all the time. It's still going to be mainly a daily driver of sorts. And so while I can't speak to its off-roading capabilities, I can speak to its on-road manners. And my initial impressions after a couple hundred miles of driving this are pretty positive, and I'll get to some of my kind of critiques in just a minute. But I think that as a GM product, GM's done a really nice job at updating the Sierra, and it needed to be, especially on the interior. And the interior is really good. Like I said earlier, I wish that it was a little more roomy up front. The back seat's fine. It's not as roomy as some of the competitors. My only real complaint about the interior is that I wish that the gear selector and the trailer controller were relocated to give you a little more room up here with cubbies and cup holders or whatever. And because they just eat up a ton of space. But it's a pretty nice place to be. I've enjoyed my time just riding in it. It's super luxurious. I mean, there's leather everywhere, this suede headliner. The ventilated seats work pretty well. They're not the coldest I've ever been in, but they work really well. Shockingly, this gets pretty decent gas mileage. No kidding. On the freeway, I was getting almost 20 miles to the gallon on my commute to work and back both times. And overall, of the couple hundred miles I've had this, I've been averaging 18.5 miles to the gallon, which, coming from a 6.2 naturally aspirated V8, that's not bad. I'm not complaining at all about that. I think that's pretty fantastic, honestly, coming from this thing. And this thing weighs almost 5,800 pounds, so it's not light. It's about the same, almost exactly. It's like within 40 pounds of the same weight as the Raptor, where, you know, the TRX is another like 600 or 700 pounds more than this is. Anyway, the miles per gallon has actually been really surprising. Now, concerning the engine, I'm just as stoked as anybody that this still has a V8, because I loved V8s. As my dad says, there's no replacement for displacement. But I'm flooring it right now, and it's not as powerful as I expected. I don't know. This puts 420 horsepower, 406, I think it's 460 or 470 pound-feet of torque. And it feels, honestly, like less than that somehow. I don't know. But I just kept wanting more, especially, I know it's not a direct competitor to the Raptor and the TRX, but, you know, this is the best that GM's got that would compare to one of those. And both of those, obviously the TRX, but even the Raptor feels much more playful and like ready to, like, you know, be light on its feet and, like, you know, let's accelerate and have fun. Whereas this, like, you kind of have to coax it a little bit more to get that power out of there. But it has a good sound. I wish it had a better, you know, a louder exhaust too. Like, the engine sound is nice. It's always good. GM V8, it's great. It's awesome. But man, this thing needs just a little bit of a throaty exhaust. And I think that would kind of maybe at least sonically make up for some of the lack of acceleration that you might be surprised to experience. It's not bad, I'm not, but it's just like not quite as much as I was expecting. I thought this will be like a rocket, a 6-liter V8, 420 horsepower, let's go, and it's fast. You know, well, it's not fast. It's quick, but it's not crazy. Okay, the Raptor and the TRX definitely feel like more of a good time. Like, woohoo, this is fun. Aside from that, this with that leaf spring suspension in the back, you are able to tow, I believe it's rated at 9,000 pounds, which is pretty great. These Multimatic shocks, I'm a big fan of. I think they do a really good job. This is definitely, I kind of got in this like expecting a Raptor-esque kind of ride quality to it. I didn't really know that much about the AT4X before I jumped into it for the first time. I kind of just got in and started driving, and it's only, you know, after that I've kind of done more research and figured some things out with it. But it is not as compliant as a Raptor, but I'm intentionally going over some pretty rough roads here in North Salt Lake, Utah, and it's doing a great job. Like, it absorbs these kind of even bigger bumps pretty well. I wouldn't say it's on the level of a Raptor or TRX as far as like it's just like this is luxurious. No, but it does a really good job. Like, these shocks are super advanced, and I regret that I haven't been able to have time to go off road with them. But so far, even on road, this is like a really nice place to be. When you're getting almost 20 miles to the gallon commuting, like, sweet, I love it. We'll do a little acceleration here for you, just a short one. And, woo, okay. Yeah, I mean, from a dead stop, like, feels pretty good. It just doesn't like want to rip your hair out like some of the competitors. All right, guys, so that's gonna about wrap it up for our time with the AT4X. Huge thanks to GM for sending this out. I've really enjoyed my time with it. I super admire like how far they've come, especially with their interior and just the ride quality, and they've certainly stepped it up. And if you're a GM fanboy, you're gonna really like what the AT4X has to offer. Just keep in mind, it doesn't have maybe quite as much ground clearance or as good of an approach angle as the I want to keep saying Colorado. The Silverado ZR2. The Colorado ZR2 is crazy. That's a great truck. Anyway, I think you're going to really like it. If you've got $77,000 to spend, which is nearly and exactly in some cases the way you spec it out, the same price as a Raptor. But if you're like, no way, I want a V8, I'm a GM guy, and let's do this, I think you're gonna be pretty darn happy. So great job, GM. And thanks for sending this out. I've really enjoyed it. You guys are awesome. Guys, thanks for liking and subscribing. It's always appreciated. Until next time, we'll see you.